It's Tuesday, so we talked to the coordinators, including offensive coordinator Jim Bob Cooter. Two lines of questioning for Jim Bob today. Number one has to do with Anthony Richardson. What was it about the Jets? What was it about Richardson, his preparation that put him in a place to be that relaxed and that productive, that efficient as the Colts starting quarterback in that victory against the Jets? And then the second line of questioning I think is really interesting because it speaks to the complementary nature of football and the way football needs to work to be executed successfully. You've got three teams, right? You got special teams, you got defense, you got offense. The defense is going to have to figure out a way to keep the Lions from scoring every time they touch the football. The offense can be a part of that. The offense can keep the Colts defense off the field and the Lions offense off the field by grounding and pounding. They can chew clock and limit the number of drives that the Lions get to a precious few. That way, if you get a turnover or two, all of a sudden, the game changes. Can you do that with the offense, or is this offense wired such that the only way it can score is via sort of deep balls, via chunk plays, that kind of thing, splash plays? Interesting questions, interesting answers from Jim Bob Cooter.
Jim Bob, Anthony was saying that he felt relaxed, probably the most relaxed he's felt in an NFL game. What do you think of just the rhythm he's able to get when we were able to establish a run a little bit and obviously use him as a runner?
Yeah, I think it's always good to get going in a game, and every guy likes to do that a little different way. I think Anthony kind of mentioned his thought process on that the other day, and sometimes it is good to get out there and move around a little bit and get into the action a little bit. He, did a really nice job on game day of keeping a level head and staying in it, drive after drive. Sort of play after play. We had some good drives and some drives we wanted back, but we just kept chipping at it. And Anthony, his mindset was really, really good all day, trying to go find a way to get us that win we were searching for. For him to sort of get into the game in the right mode to get him in sort of that same mindset to go play good ball, drive after drive, and all that is something we're definitely keeping an eye on the best way to manage, and credit to him for sort of managing himself throughout the game and staying in a good place and having a good ball game.
I know you don't want him to get hit, but Pitt was saying contact kind of makes you feel like you're in the game. So do you see a little bit of that with Anthony? Like, obviously you don't want him lowering his shoulder every play, but just to feel the game, literally?
Well, I think, Pitt, there's probably some truth to that for a lot of guys. You said it early, and we've talked about it all summer and off season and all that. How many hits are you trying to take? But you're trying to get into the game. You're trying to go play football, and these guys are competing like crazy. So sometimes that you want that to happen maybe naturally within the flow of the game. Not, I'll say we'll try as a coaching staff not to set up the hits, but they may show up as the game goes. Right? That's the game we play. That's the life we live. Pitt's probably on the right track there. We'll probably try to take a few off of Anthony as it goes, but there's going to be a few along the way, and sometimes that can get you right in the groove.
Joel?
What do you guys need to do on kind of a per play basis to get the running game going a little bit? You guys obviously stuck to it, but probably want a little more efficiency out of it.
Yeah, we're hunting for efficiency and consistency. In this league, you're always battling you're trying to find those explosive plays. Those are really good when you break down the stats and you do the big picture studies for what wins games. It's protecting the ball and explosive plays. But you're battling to control the game and stay on the field, and it helps your defense out. It helps our guys up front out when we're sort of constantly moving that ball forward. It's a dynamic game that we're playing against the defense where it's not simply maybe one fix and we do this one thing better, or we call this one run play better, or we execute this one thing better. It's going back and forth with the defense and playing to our strengths and sort of playing the cat and mouse game with them. If you think you're going to have a certain look and then you get into game day and they switch it up on you, maybe just how a certain guy's playing a technique, we switch it right back and sort of find that run game efficiency. You're going to be a big force as we come down the home stretch of this season to be efficient and consistent while being explosive, right? That's the ultimate goal. Let's get them both. let's go be explosive and consistent, explosive and efficient. That's a good thing for an offense. So we're hunting sort of for all the behind the scenes reasons for all that stuff, and trying to sort of get better and better as we go.
Is it fair to say that being a little more efficient and consistent helps you get those explosives? Not just because you get more plays, more plays obviously get more chances at explosives, but also you get in situations where you can kind of do some stuff, not.
Yeah, I think it's good all around. We've talked for a million years about, gosh, going 1st and 10, going into 2nd and shorter, or going into another 1st and 10, and how that can really put you at an advantage against the defense. You're looking for as many advantages against the defense as we can find. I think as our run game sort of, we've had our really good weeks, and our weeks where we've been sort of a little up and down, but had some production. We're looking to be really consistent and productive, and that'll lead into more consistency, efficiency, explosiveness, like you said. I think it all works together. So ultimately, long story short, we're trying to just be a little bit cleaner, a little bit better, and then that'll make everything a little bit cleaner, a little bit better.
Kevin?
Jim Bob, and looking back on Anthony's play on Sunday, anything tangible you felt like he really focused on in those 2 weeks of watching that translated to, arguably or probably his best game of his career?
Yeah, did a good job putting in the work to, work on all the things Coach mentioned the other day. Just work on all the stuff that we've been working on around here, just trying to get better. Anthony's been putting in the work behind the scenes. He's been preparing, working on the opponent, working on what we have up offensively, talking with his teammates, sometimes picking coaches' brains, picking different people's brains. Last week, it might have been some of the defensive coaches because some of the schemes were similar, so just looking for those edges, right? We're playing a highly competitive game. We're trying to, be at or near the top of that sort of competitive thing league wide. So we're looking for those edges, and Anthony's looking to find them with his preparation, his consistency, just sort of how he attacks each day.
Stephen?
Hey, Jim Bob, you just talked about Anthony as a runner specifically. I'm wondering, along the same lines, does establishing the run with the quarterback, even if you don't get a lot of yards, and you don't have to do it a ton, but I mean, even if you just sprinkle it in, does it have any tangible effect on the defense, just specifically with the quarterback? I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you talk to a bunch of opposing defensive coordinators, or just any D coordinator, right? They're going to tell you when the quarterback's a runner or a running threat, that changes the math a little bit, changes the numbers a little bit. And if that math is getting changed, then they're having to make adjustments based on that math. And like most things in this game, when you make an adjustment one way, it ought to open up a little something somewhere else. And that's the benefit of having Anthony be able to have success with those run plays when called upon or when needed, or sometimes you work one of those run read type of plays we've talked about a bunch where, hey, Anthony might keep it or Anthony might hand it off, and the defense has to account for that with somebody, and maybe that buys you a little space somewhere else. So yeah, it does have an effect. It does have I think a tangible effect on the defense, and each defense is different with how they try to solve that problem, and that's the fun part of the game for us, is how do we think, the upcoming defense going to solve that problem, and maybe how do we take advantage of what we think they're going to do to solve it.
Got it.
Do a few more here, Chap.
Jim Bob, we talked to Gus earlier about the challenge that the defense faces against the Lions. It's obvious. I guess, what role do you guys play to sort of, I don't say play keep away, and I'm not saying you got to score 35 points or whatever, but what role does the offense play to sort of limit what Detroit has a chance to do?
Yeah, great question. It is a team game, and it's really important that we always remember that, even when, a whole bunch of us offensive coaches or offensive, Colts break up and go to one meeting and the defensive guys go to another meeting. We're all working to win a ball game, and what is the best path for us to win that ball game? I think it's advantageous for us to have a good view of that on offense, kind of what the other side of the ball is bringing to the party, how they've been playing, how they're likely to play, and how we can do our best to mitigate that on our side. We're looking to play complementary football and support our defense while also going out there and scoring points. And ultimately you got to have more points than the other team, you know? So, you know, whether that's high or low scoring in this league, you just got to find a way to score more than the other side. There's a way offensively for us to definitely work in a complementary fashion with our defense and our special teams to do that the best. And we'll be, you know, sort of searching to find that path this week.
JJ?
Hey, Jim Bob, Alex said that he kind of gave Anthony a heads up that the Jets corners are getting a little nosy on some of Josh's like outbreaking option routes. And then that kind of led to, hey, let's check into the shot down the field to him. Like when you guys coach that stuff up during the week, do you need players to kind of lead it almost on game day to say, hey, I'm seeing this, let's get to this? Like, how does that process go?
Yeah, it's very beneficial when we're all talking. You know, we see things on the sideline, we see things from the booth, but those players really feel those things. And Alec and Pitt and Josh and a lot of our guys really do such a great job of playing ball out there and coming back and telling us what they see. You know, we had a couple looks earlier in the game where we had a similar coverage and it was a different play. The ball was going somewhere else, but you could kind of see, you know, gosh, this is how they're playing this coverage today. Okay. And those guys were over there talking about it on the bench pretty quick because, you know, hey, they're looking to play good football and go score points for the team. But, shoot, they definitely recognize when it might leave them a little more open, you know. So they're doing a good job talking. It was an opportunity that the guys did a great job recognizing. And, you know, Anthony did a great job sort of executing his role in that because it wasn't a simple one. You know, he had to kind of manage how he got that ball there and how he sort of influenced the coverage there. So those guys are doing a good job talking. They you know, are sort of constantly talking about different things they're seeing, leverage, you know, coverage types, things like that. It is beneficial to have, you know, more intelligent veteran voices that know what they're talking about come back with ideas.
For that throw for Anthony too, where he kind of pumps and then he has to reset, is that a situation where maybe some quarterbacks or even previously with Anthony, he sees it open and you get a little overexcited and you don't make a good throw? Like, what did his process have to be to still kind of pump fake, reset, and then make that throw?
Yeah, it's always interesting, you know, sort of one of those quarterback drill things we all do where you have to do the pump and the reset and then still throw you a good ball and manage where the coverage is, manage where the defenders are. Probably sounds easier than it is, but he did a really nice job of sort of executing his job. I think he knew the opportunity that was presented there, and it was a big one, man. That was a huge play in that game. You know, not sure where that game goes without that huge play. It would have been more interesting in the last 2 minutes, but yeah, he did a really nice job executing his role in that thing and sort of taking advantage of the opportunity and making the most out of it. It ain't easy. Like I said, it's something Cam Turner and Anthony and all those guys are working in those quarterback drills. You guys are out there seeing them. They're working different versions of things. That's one of them. You have to work that at quarterback. You have to work, you know, not just your drops and your footwork and throwing sort of the simple first read type passes. You have to work those advanced moves. And Anthony did a really nice job there in a really big moment on the road to deliver a nice ball.
And then just last question, James.
Jim Bob, one on Kirby Joseph. What challenges does he present on the back end for Detroit? I think he leads league in interceptions.
Yeah, the ball, I mean, he finds the ball and the ball finds him. He's got an incredible nose for it. You know, they do a really good job within their coverages of putting guys into position to make plays, and they're pretty aggressive with it. You know, they'll take some chances when they can see him, and Joseph's done a really nice job. You know, he appears to have a really good you know, kind of already said nose for the ball, but he really understands passing concepts from what I can see. He's able to sort of adjust his coverage requirements or coverage rules to go best attack the offensive passing concept he sees. And when the ball's in the air his direction, he's been making those plays. He's been coming down with them. He's somebody we got to know where he's at on the field at all times because he is doing such a nice job this year. He's a difference maker for that defense, and they're playing really good defensive football overall. But he's doing a great job back there for him.
That's Jim Bob Cooter. I got to tell you, I'm really kind of stoked about this game on Sunday. I don't know if the Colts are going to be able to win, but I know what the Colts have to do to be able to win. They have to eat clock offensively. And then defensively, you got to get a couple of turnovers. You do those two things, you can beat the Lions. The Lions, one loss on the season, and they haven't lost in a long time, and they're coming off a huge win against the Jaguars. Not that the Jaguars are a tough beat, but beating anybody 52-6 in the National Football League is kind of a big deal. This is going to be a really kind of a fun game. Nothing to lose. You walk in, you get aggressive, and you try to like one up the aggression of the Lions. You go after Dan Caldwell's offense. You go after the defense, try to take control of it. And at the end of the 60 minutes, maybe you got more points.